Okay, this is the part 2 of our introduction to FireWk, and we're creating a little graphic to represent how an internet or how a network connects to the internet. So if you haven't done part 1, go back, do that, and then come back here. And when we left off, we had just created the graphic that represented our internet. Yours may look different depending on what colors and line you chose. But we do need, if this is going to be our internet, we do need to represent it with some wording. So let's come over to our text tool. Click on the big A, the text tool. Come over above our image for the internet. Click and drag. Let's type in internet. Okay. Select it. We might want to change the color. So select it. Come to the bottom. Change. I'm going to make this kind of a orange-red type thing, like that. Click and you can click and move it. To move it, of course, you need the black pointer tool. So select the black pointer tool. Click and drag it. With it selected, we can come down and choose the font type. So choose something that kind of looks cool, like that, something more like that. You can choose whatever you like. You can change the font size here. Change the font size, make it a little bigger or a little smaller, right? Now we're going to kind of make it a little more interesting. We're going to give it an effect or a filter to make the word internet, again, seem a little nebulous. So come down, make sure it's selected. And again, you might have to choose the black pointer to select it. Come in the lower right-hand corner of your properties, find where it says filter, and click on the plus. And we're going to come back to this a couple different times. You can pause and kind of scroll through and see different things that you can, different effects that you can apply to your different objects. We're going to go to shadow and glow and just put a glow on it. And it puts it like it's a little glowing image in the background. Okay? Now we have to make a connection from our server to the internet. And we're going to do that by using our pen tool. We could use a line tool and then freeform. But again, part of this video is to show you how the different tools work. So for this part, we're going to use our pen tool. So select on the pen tool. Come over, start near the server. Click and let go of your mouse. When you click and let go, you can move the mouse anywhere you want, and the line is not set until you click again. So click a couple times. Click and let go, and finish the line somewhere around the entrance to the internet. When you're done on that last click, you need a double click. And when you double click, then the line is complete. Now notice your mouse is still looks like the pen. So we're going to change that line a little bit. We're going to come back and we have to select the black pointer. We can come down now, and now notice how your mouse is a black pointer again. Come down to the properties. You can change the color on it. I'm going to give it kind of a pinkish. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to increase the font size to maybe a 12. Okay. Then I'm going to come over here next to the 12 and choose the stroke category box, and let you kind of go through the different options and choose a stroke that you kind of like, and try a couple different ones out and see if you can find one that you think represents the internet. I'm going to come down here to unnatural and choose this fluid splatter. So it kind of looks kind of ooey and gooey. Again, you can choose what you want. And I'm going to add a filter to it also. So I'm going to come down to filters, click on the plus, and maybe add a little blur. Gonna blur it a little bit. Maybe add another filter too. Maybe do a inner glow, something along those lines. Make it a little spooky. Gonna add whatever filters you'd like. Okay. Now we need to create a title for our image, or for our picture here, called networking. So I'm going to kind of scroll up a little bit. So we can see the top of our image, or top of our picture. Notice remember we left some white space up here, so we'd have room to do this. The first thing I'm going to do is create a background for it. And to do that, I'm just going to make a regular little square. So come over to our image button, choose a rectangle, and I'm just going to make a regular old rectangle here. Again, notice I'm starting in the upper left-hand corner and dragging to the lower right. Okay? It'll automatically take on the properties of whatever the last object was. So whatever you chose for this line down here, it'll automatically choose for that. We don't want the same. So I'm going to come down with my box selected. I'm going to come down and choose to the properties at the bottom, choose none under the category box here. Choose none. Then I'm going to give it a color. It's like a black outside. And I'm going to give it a fill. So give it a fill color, kind of a lighter fill color. I'm going to do a yellow, make it a little lighter. So now there's our background. Now we have to put our text in. So come over to the text tool, click on text, and click and drag a box. Go ahead and type in networking. Here we go. Select it or highlight it and come to our property box at the bottom, and you can choose kind of the style that you like, whatever type of networking. Something like that. Something like that's fine. And you can make it a bold or italics or however you want it. Okay. Deselect, or come back to the black pointer, click on that, and then click on the outside, and there we have networking, which is nice enough, but we want it to stretch and make it not make it bigger, but make it longer. So come back and select the networking box. So to stretch it, again, make sure it's selected, come down to the properties at the bottom, and the property here, it says 100%, and it's got that little A with the little arrows kind of stretched out A. That's kind of the horizontal scale. You can click and drag that up until it gets to a point where you think is about right. I'm going to say about 200 or so. Again, you can use your arrow keys to nudge it to the left or to the right. And once you kind of have that, we can add a filter to it to kind of give it a cool look. Well, I don't want to get into that yet. Go to filter, and maybe we'll use, I want to use like a bevel. Here we go, bevel and emboss. So you can use an internal bevel to kind of give it a little, looks like it's elevated, a little cool look to it. Okay. If you do want to change the background or the line around the networking wording, you can by selecting the box, and you can come down and again choose the pixel, play with these again, maybe use a felt tip marker of some sort around it. You might have to make it a little thicker, kind of play with that a little bit. It might be a little too thick, and see what you want to do with that. I don't like any of that, but again, you can play with what you want, play with the colors a little bit. Okay, so now our picture is looking pretty good. I do want to create one more element to show you another couple features here. So over here in this free space over here someplace, we're going to create a wireless port, a wireless network port. So we're going to do that. We're going to start by using one of our basic shapes. So come over and choose the basic shape. Hold down and let us choose the smart polygon down here. Choose the smart polygon. Come and click and drag and just make a shape over here. Now, again, it's going to take on the properties of however you left it the last time you made a shape. So whatever it is, we want to come back down to the properties box. Under the line, choose none, right? Or actually, we probably want solid. So give it a line color. That's maybe a gray or a brown of some sort. And then the same with the fill. Give it kind of a gray here. Okay? Now, this looks like right now kind of a polygon shape. No matter what the image starts out as, we can morph it or change it into any shape we want. So, to do that, though, we have to use the white selection tool. We haven't used the white pointer yet. So now, click on the white one. And when you come down and hold your mouse, you don't even have to click. Just hold your mouse over the shape. You can see those handles, those red handles kind of appear. So when you click and select it, you can see the white handles now on every corner. You can click and drag and actually morph this image. Now when you do, it's going to say, hey, by changing this, the other shape will never be the same again. And that's okay. We don't want it to be the same. You can click this button where it says don't show again. So click on there, it says don't show again. Say okay. We know we're changing it. And click the handles, and this is kind of, you got to feel, there's no one right way to do this. Kind of come in here and kind of come in here and kind of reshape it. Click and drag. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so it's a little easier to see. And if you want to add a handle, add a white thing, you can do that just by clicking. Actually, hang on, I'll get to that in a second, because I want to get this here, and I want to move this over here a little bit. There we go. So it kind of looks like I made my wireless port into kind of a witch's hat look. Actually, I'm even going to bring this up a little bit here, bring this up a little bit here, kind of something along those lines. All right, so it kind of looks like a witch's hat a little bit. If you want to add points to it, that's where our pen tool comes into shape. So you can click on the pen tool, you can come down and click where there's no handle now, click, and all of a sudden there is one. And click over here, and all of a sudden there is one. To move it, you have to come back to the white selection tool again, and now you can add, whoops, that's probably too far. Move this back a little bit here. And again, you can do whatever you want. I'm just showing you kind of different ways you can create and have some fun with it. We can also use that if you want something kind of rounded. We can come back again and use the pen tool. Select the pen tool. And this time when you click on a handle, click and hold and drag, and click as you hold and drag, then the corner becomes a little rounded, and how you drag and turn affects the way it looks. Click, I'm just going to drag this up a little bit, something along those lines. Okay? When you get the shape the way you want it, and again, it really doesn't matter what it looks like, just so it has some type of point, at the top. Come back and choose the black pointer tool to select it, and then you can kind of click and move. Again, you can change things around a little bit by using, whoops, hit undo, don't do that. All right, so now we have to somehow show this is a wireless point and is going to connect to the server, which connects to the internet. So we're going to draw a line, and then we're going to make the line appear to float. It's not going to be a straight line when we're done with it. So come over to the line tool, select, start up kind of where the point is, click and kind of drag it to the wireless or to the server. Okay? Let's come down and we can change the color. I'm going to keep it kind of dark, but you can change it to any color you want. And we'll give it a couple 3 or 5 pixels. And then I'm going to choose some type of dash. So kind of come to the dashes here. I'm going to use kind of this dash. You can use any dash you want. What is that, heavy dash? Something like this. So now that kind of represents the wireless communication. If you want to add a filter to it, you can. Come down here and maybe an internal shadow. That doesn't do much. To remove a filter, look down here in this filter box. It says internal filter. Select it and then click this delete or the minus sign. And now it's gone. That's how you remove a filter. Maybe add a little noise. A little preview there. Doesn't do much. I'm going to remove that. And just kind of play around with it until you find something that you like. Sharpen. Maybe we'll do a little eye candy, marble, no. Whatever, I'm going to just put a glow on it for now. Again, do what you want. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out so we can see the entire picture here. And one thing we haven't talked about yet is layering. If you come over to the right-hand side, if you've noted, if you don't see it, there's a button that says Layers over here. Click on that Layers button, and you should have a list similar to mine. And every time we created an object here in their picture, a new one was created over here. As you click on these different things over here, you can see in your image how something else is selected. Each one of these represents an image that you drew. And the way it works is this. It's like pieces of paper. You have one piece of paper on top of the other. So whatever paper is on top, that's what you see. And whatever paper is on bottom, you do not see that. So for instance, if I take, and you need to have your black pointer tool selected, use your black pointer tool, I am going to take that internet or the wireless line that we just drew, I'm going to click and I'm going to move it over the server. And notice, actually what we'll do is we'll make it grow. And to make it grow, we have to use the scale tool. So move it back, or hit undo. Make sure it's still selected. Use the scale tool, and then click and drag and make it a little bigger so it spills over into the server. Then click the black pointer tool. And we can see here that the red or the line is on top of the server. We might want to move it behind the server. To do that, we come over, and here's our path. Notice when we are working on it, it's selected. We can click and hold and drag it down here. Now notice the server's on top. Here's the server. Notice it's selected. Here's our path. And because the server is above our path, it looks like it's on top. To change that, you just click on our path, click and drag it up. So it's on top of the server. So if you want to layer things, this is how you do it. You click and drag one on top of the other. Okay, so that's the basics, some basics. I'm going to pull the server back on top of FireWk. Now I do want you to do kind of one little project here on your own on this, in this example here. You should have a little free space somewhere. Maybe it's down in this corner, maybe it's up here. Find a little free space on your image, and I would like you to draw whatever a image, a graphic that represents a computer virus. You can use any of these tools. You can use any of your filters, anything that we've gone over, anything you've discovered, but come up with some type of image that represents a virus, and then use your text tool here and label it a virus. Then group the text and your virus symbol together. And do that on your own. I'm not going to give you any instructions for that, but use what you've learned in this lesson to create that. Go ahead and pause the video now and work on it. Okay, so you should have paused the video and created your little image that looked like a virus. That's what I did right here while I paused my video. I have to group mine together. If you haven't grouped yours yet, make sure you draw a box around the image and the words and come up to modify and group. So now that is now one image, right? And remember, we don't like viruses. So what I want to do is do that universal, create the universal symbol with a circle and a line through it, saying that viruses are bad. So again, if you haven't gotten this far, pause the video, come back, create an image that looks like virus, create the text, group it together. Then to create that universal symbol, come over to our image and let's choose the donut. Choose the donut and click and draw the donut over your virus. You'll have to change the fill color. Let's go to a solid for now. And I'll do a solid red. Red kind of means no. And then use the inner triangle, or the inner diamond to make a thinner line. So click and drag that out and make a little thinner line there. And resize it so it fits over the virus. Again, come to the edge and kind of resize it a little bit. There we go. I'm using my arrow keys just to kind of nudge it into place to where I want it. All right? And then, so there's the circle. To create the line, we're going to go and use the line tool. So create a line and then just draw a line through it. Again, you might have to, after you draw the line, change the color of the stroke or the line and change, whoops, I want to keep it red, and change the font size, 5 or 6, 7, somewhere along those lines. There you go. Now we've got that universal symbol. Actually, you know what? I don't want, I want this line to, I want to move it so it doesn't go through the word virus. So I'm going to choose the white selection tool, come to the edge and kind of pull it down here, then click on the other handle and click and pull it up there. There we go. Now the word virus isn't covered, but we still got the image. Okay? This is 3 images now, and we want to group all this to make it one. So again, make sure the black pointer is selected, and then in the lower right hand corner, click and drag and make a box over just that. Notice if I accidentally get some of this computer here, the computer is selected too, and you don't want that. So deselect by clicking off on the side and trying again and get just the image itself. And only that image is selected. Then we can choose modify, group, and now this is all one image. Okay? Now, something else to just throw in here, that some of you might need this tool later on, is we can flip any image we want, horizontally or vertically. So let's go ahead and select a computer, select a PC, and we might want to flip that. So let's go to the Modify menu. To modify, come down here to transform. Transform here, you've got flip horizontal. And now notice the CD-ROM drive is on the other side. Come back to modify, transform. You can choose flip vertical. Now it's upside down. You can come down to modify, transform, and you can rotate it 180 degrees or say 90 degrees clockwise. So now it's on its side, 90 degrees clockwise. Or you can do what we've done before and choose the free transform. And now here, when your mouse is a circle, you can click and drag it and make it any shape or any angle that you'd like. Okay? But we're not done messing with this shape of this PC. We can skew it. And to skew it, you go back to modify, go back to transform, and here we can choose skew. When you choose skew, notice your mouse changes shape. Well, wait a minute, that's not what I want here. Notice when you click in the middle, you're kind of rotating it and it's kind of skewing it or pulling it to one side or the other. That's called skewing. Okay? Or we can come back to modify, transform, and again, play around with it, distort. And in distort, you can actually click on each handle and move it and make it look a little bit different. And when you're done, go back to the black pointer, and there you have a goofy, kind of eclectic-looking little PC computer. All right? Kind of looks like you're looking at it at an angle. All right, well, those are some basic features. Threw a lot at you in these lessons. You will be using these different commands quite a bit over the next few weeks. So hopefully, now that you've been introduced to them, you can come back and you can recall how to do them quickly. Okay?